Minglaba. Hello everyone. Welcome back to MMTV's news program of the week. Today, we will be talking about Myanmar. We will present the situation of interest between Myanmar and the other countries of the world, as well as the difficulties they are now facing in Myanmar. My name is Quentin Covington. Let's go on to the news summaries. First, we have news that the Union Minister for the Ministry of Human Rights attended the Myanmar talks held in the Philippines and spoke about the human rights violations of the terrorists. Second, Ambassador U Cho Mautun, Myanmar's permanent representative to the United Nations, stated at the General Debate of 2024 ministerial segment of the High-Level Political Forum of the United Nations Economic and Social Council that Myanmar faces significant challenges in achieving its sustainable development goals. Third, we have news that the United States will only allow those who are not related to politics to represent Myanmar in ASEAN. Fourth, news that the Foreign Minister of Laos, Malaysia, and Indonesia have had an informal discussion regarding the Myanmar issue. Fifth, more than 300 members of the Military Council, including the Lieutenant Colonel, returned to the legal fold at the Kokha Army. At number 6, we have news that Moke was attacked and occupied by TNLA-led Revolutionary Joint Forces. At number 7, news that fighting has resumed in Loiko. At number 8, we have news that some of those arrested at the La Chaux Interrogation Center have been released. At number 9, Myanmar's data, which monitors and records arson attacks, reported on July 24th that approximately 100,000 civilian homes, or 95,450 units, were destroyed due to arson by the Military Council during the more than 3 years since the coup. And finally, at 10, we are going to report on the restriction of freedom to use the Signal social network and Google services widely used in Myanmar since last week. Moving on to our first topic, I would like to share news that the Union Minister, U Aung Myo Min, attended the Challenges and Prospects of Justice, Democracy, and Peace in Myanmar, a conference in the Philippines on July 23rd. During the conference, he participated in discussions focusing on landscape human rights in Myanmar and challenges in Asia. Minister U Aung Myo Min addressed the human rights violations in Myanmar since the 2021 coup attempt, highlighting the severe impacts such as civilian casualties from airstrikes, displacements, and the ongoing struggle against terrorist groups. He emphasized that the National Unity Government and ethnic revolutionary forces are actively countering these groups, which are losing control and morale. Minister U Aung Myo Min also stressed to the international community that these actions amount to international war crimes. ASEAN's awareness of the terrorist group's non-compliance with the established 5-point consensus on Myanmar necessitates more effective solutions beyond the current framework. He proposed that ASEAN should prevent leaders of terrorist groups from attending regional meetings while allowing their representatives, and urged for a specific agenda to address the Myanmar issue effectively. As the Philippines prepare to assume ASEAN's rotating chairmanship, civil society organizations have urged its government to recognize the National Unity Government. They emphasized the importance of effective ASEAN leadership in addressing Myanmar's complex challenges, which encompass civil conflict and regional political implications under the ASEAN's charter. This includes issues of cross-border crimes and economic stability, demanding ASEAN's dedicated attention. Additionally, Philippine civil society organizations at the conference advocated for stronger cooperation under ASEAN's recently established Trioca system, involving 3 rotating chairmanships. They discussed measures to support the universal jurisdiction system, aiming to hold accountable those responsible for violations committed by terrorist groups in Myanmar. Moving on to the second piece of news, Ambassador U Cho Mautun, Myanmar's permanent representative to the United Nations, stated during the General Debate of the 2024 ministerial segment of the High-Level Political Forum of the United Nations Economic and Social Council that Myanmar faces significant challenges in achieving its sustainable development goals. The 2024 High-Level Political Forum took place at the United Nations headquarters in New York from July 8th to the 17th in 2024. Ambassador U Cho Mautun participated in the General Policy Discussion Program held on July 17th and delivered a speech. Ambassador Uchamotun reiterated at the general debate of the 2024 ministerial segment of the High-Level Political Forum of the United Nations Economic and Social Council that Myanmar faces significant challenges in achieving its sustainable development goals. He highlighted that Myanmar, now in its fourth year under military rule, is experiencing a tragic state, with its people enduring indescribable hardships. He emphasized that lasting peace can only be achieved by ending military dictatorship and establishing a federal democratic union. Such actions would create favorable conditions for accountable and inclusive institutions and support the successful implementation of the 2030 Agenda. He urged the international community not to abandon the people of Myanmar and to take effective measures, concluding with a 10-point statement and a call for cooperation. Next, we have a report that the U.S. will only allow individuals who are not related to politics to represent Myanmar in ASEAN. The U.S. State Department has stated that it has agreed to allow only a non-political person to represent Myanmar at the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting to be held in Laos this week. Only a non-political representative, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, will be allowed. Daniel Crittenbrink, the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for East Asia and Pacific Affairs, said during a press conference held yesterday on July 22nd. The Assistant Secretary of State mentioned that the United Nations has taken many measures and sanctions to prevent the Myanmar military from committing more brutal acts, and that more actions will be taken. Additionally, he said that there is more time to support the democratic forces opposing the military at home and abroad than before, and that discussions will continue going forward. The ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting will be held from July 24th to the 28th in Vientiane, Laos, and an informal discussion on Myanmar will also be included. Since the end of 2021, Myanmar's military leaders have been barred from attending ASEAN meetings due to the non-compliance with the 5-point consensus established by ASEAN. The Foreign Ministers meeting, hosted by Laos earlier this year, was attended by the Permanent Secretary, Da Malar Ten Tai, of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Military Council, and it is not yet known who will attend this time. It has been reported that revolutionary forces and more than 300 civil society organizations have sent an open letter to ASEAN leaders in the past few days, requesting that representatives of the National Unity Government, or the NUG, be allowed to attend instead of the Military Council. Next, I would like to share news that the Foreign Minister of Laos and his counterparts of Malaysia and Indonesia have had informal discussions regarding the Myanmar issue. The Foreign Minister of Laos, Salumsa Komasit, Foreign Minister of Malaysia, Muhammad Hassan, along with the Indonesian Foreign Minister, Retno Marsudi, held an informal discussion regarding the implementation of the 5-point consensus on Myanmar affairs. These foreign ministers met in Vientiane before the official meeting of the ASEAN Foreign Ministers to be held in Laos. Meanwhile, the Human Rights Minister of the National Unity Government urged the ASEAN Military Council to take more action in more effective ways than the 5-point consensus on Myanmar affairs during the Foreign Ministers meeting by the Military and Foreign Affairs of the Military Council. There are also reports that a Permanent Secretary of Myanmar will attend. Up next, we have news that more than 300 members of the Military Council, including a lieutenant colonel, have returned to the legal fold. The Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army, MNDAA, released a video on the evening of July 23rd showing more than 300 military council soldiers, including lieutenant colonels, surrendering in Lashio Township, northern Shan State, where fighting is ongoing. A lieutenant colonel, 2 majors, and 5 captains, totaling 317 military council soldiers, surrendered to the MNDAA at 10 a.m. on July 21st. The soldiers of the military council, stationed near Lashio City, have surrendered, but the remaining battalion has not yet made a specific statement. It is reported that a large number of weapons and ammunitions from the Military Council Army were also confiscated when those who surrendered were accepted by the MNDAA. The MNDAA stated that they are providing medical treatment to the wounded and sick among the surrendered Military Council soldiers. The MNDAA announced that fighting would continue until today in the vicinity of La Chaux, despite their previous announcement to halt offensives until the end of July. According to the MNDAA, the 317 soldiers, including 2 majors, a lieutenant colonel, and 5 captains, expressed their desire to join the coalition forces to fight against the military leader, Min Aung Hlaing. The assistant director of the MNDAA Political Department or Organization Department met with the surrendered military council soldiers, welcomed their willingness to join the revolutionary struggle, and assured their safety. Next, we have news that Moke was attacked and occupied by TNLA-led Revolutionary Joint Forces. Moke has been attacked and captured by the Joint Revolutionary Forces, led by the Taong Army, TNLA. The spokesperson of the Taong Army, TNLA, confirmed this to the MFP news agency. Moke became the second city captured in the second wave of Operation 1027. On social networks, people are welcoming the revolutionary forces that entered Moke with the victory flower Eugenia. The city was attacked and captured by TNLA, Moke Strategy, MDY PDF, and Joint Forces. The Joint Revolutionary Forces were able to attack and capture the western part of Moke City on the 30th of last month, and the eastern part of Moke City on July 24th. Moke Strategy and MDY PDF have yet to make official press releases. Up next, we have news that fighting has resumed in Luakau. According to sources on ground, fighting between the military council forces and the Karenni coalition forces has been ongoing since yesterday and continues until the reporting of July 24th. The fighting is intensifying due to the Army's presence in Mine Lone Ward, Dakong Ward, and Duko Ward in Luakau, which are controlled by the Karenni Army. Since the beginning of June, the Military Council Army has deployed a column of 4 battalions to regain the area controlled by the Karenni forces. Local media reports indicate that there are 3 infantry battalions and the number 362 Artillery Battalion, including Regional Command Headquarters in Luakau. A person familiar with the military situation said that there are thousands of troops, with the force that has re-entered being more than 1,000 soldiers. Both the military and the Karenni Revolutionary Forces control different areas of Luakau. Since November 11th of 2023, the Karenni forces have been attacking the capital city of Luakau under the name of Operation 1111. In July, the Military Council met with the local community of Luakau Township and released photos and news about the reopening of schools and hospitals. Up next, we have news that some of those arrested in the La Chaux Interrogation Center have been released. Locals in La Chaux reported that some detainees were released on the evening of July 23rd, following the capture of La Chaux Base 41st Infantry Battalion by the Kokang Army, MNDAA, on July 21st. Among those released was a woman in her 20s who had been arrested since November of 2022. A person close to the family said that 3 men were also released, making a total of 4 individuals. It was also mentioned that others arrested in connection with political cases have also been released, although the exact number is unknown. Cases related to political affairs and ethnic armed groups are examined at the interrogation center and then sent to relevant police stations in La Chaux prison. Despite the fighting near La Chaux prison, a resident noted that the prison had not yet been captured by revolutionary forces. On the morning of July 24th, fighting continued in La Chaux City, including in the Ward 5 of 507th Light Infantry Regiment, Ward 4, Ward 12 near the 68th Infantry Battalion, and areas around La Chaux Prison and Kachin Village. Locals in La Chaux expressed concern that due to the ongoing fighting, the remaining residents in the city will soon face a food shortage. Next, we would like to share a report released on July 24th by Data for Myanmar, D4M, which monitors and records arson attacks, that approximately 100,000 civilian homes, or 95,450 units, have been destroyed due to the arson by the Military Council during the 3-year coup. In the first 6 months of 2024, about 15,000 houses were destroyed by fire. More than 1,000, or 1,109 to be exact, civilian homes in Mandalay Region, Sagai Region, Danintari Region, Mogwai Region, and Chin State were burned down last June. It is reported that these incidents affected 270 towns and villages, with 70% of total homes burned located in the Sagae region. This year, the number of homes burned in Rakhine State has increased. D4M has reported that more than 95,000 civilian homes have been destroyed due to arson by the military and its subordinate organizations during the 3 years of the military coup. Of these, more than 60,000 homes were in Sagae region, accounting for over 70% of the total loss, with the largest number of homes destroyed in 2024. In June alone, 1,109 houses were burned in Mandalay region, Sagae region, the Nintari region, Chin State, and Moke. Additionally, D4M reported that 279 towns and villages were burned in June alone. During the first half of 2024, more than 3,100 houses in 16 villages in Kalay Township, Sagae region, were destroyed by the army, and those affected are still in need of assistance. In Rakhine State, more houses have been burned this year. The research team indicated that it is difficult to get accurate information about the houses in Butitang, where the army and the Arakan Army, AA, fought fiercely due to communication issues. It is known that almost all the houses in at least 6 wards of Butitang were burned down. And last, we'll bring you updates on the restrictions of use of Signal and Google services, which are widely used in Myanmar since last week. After the military council banned the use of Facebook, the interactive social network Signal became widely used locally. Now, after connecting to a VPN, the Signal network can be fully used, according to a person working on the Thai-Myanmar border. Google services, which store information on the internet, are also experiencing significant slowdowns. Users report that they are able to use these services after connecting to a VPN. The military council is attempting to block out social communication platforms and black out the news because they cannot control the ongoing fighting and protests. The military council has not issued any statements about the restrictions on services such as Signal and Google. Some technology experts speculate that the Signal network is difficult for the military council to track, and they may be trying to block it through technological means. They believe the increased restrictions on internet use are intended to slow down online anti-dictatorship activities and cut off the flow of donations to armed resistance fighters. Observers note that in areas where there is resistance to the military council, the internet has been cut off or slowed down. This has been a summary of the news we've collected during the week. Every day, Myanmar continues to strive for democracy and human rights in various ways. Therefore, I urge people all around the world and in each country to help and restore democracy and basic human rights in Myanmar. I will update you again next week. Thank you. Cheziba.